Hello everybody and welcome back to the beach. This is Cromer in North Norfolk where I live. That's in England, if there is anyone out there watching internationally. And I thought I'd get back on the beach today to talk a little bit more about ARVC itself, what it is, how I got it, what led to me being diagnosed. So ARVC stands for arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, and I've inherited this condition. I inherited it from my mum. I'm not holding anything against her, it's something out of her control. And what I essentially inherited was what's known as the FLNC gene. So when I'm made, my dad has 2 good copies of that gene. My mum had a good copy and an altered copy of the gene. Now, when I'm created, or when anyone's created, 1 copy from each side is passed on. So unfortunately, my mum passed on to me her bad copy, and that's what's led to me having the condition. Now, what actually happens is it causes fatty, fibrous scar tissue, which replaces the heart muscle, and my actual ventricle itself has become stretched and thin, which impairs the pumping function of the blood around the body, but also the scar tissue disrupts the electrical signals across my heart, and it's that can cause very dangerous arrhythmias. So the day I knew I had something seriously wrong was a day when I was running on this beach here. I was out on a long run, about 10 miles, and mile 9, 1 mile to my house, all of a sudden my legs just went to complete jelly. I face planted the floor. I didn't even get a chance to stick my hands out. Luckily I face planted onto sand instead of some of these pebbles beneath me here. And I couldn't breathe properly, and I was losing vision and barely staying conscious. I don't really know how long it lasted. My best guess was about sort of 20 seconds or so. I started to come back around. It took about 2 minutes for my breathing to settle down and to actually get control of that. And I couldn't actually phone anyone. I had no phone signal here, and you can see it's a pretty empty stretch of beach. There's only a few walkers out here today. There was no one around. I actually had to just get myself together and continue to walk the last mile to the house. So, but the strange thing is, by the time I got back to the house, I actually felt absolutely fine. And I spoke to my wife about it, and she was convinced I needed to, at the very least, speak to a doctor. So I did, and he advised me to phone an ambulance straight away, given the history in the family of cardiomyopathy. And I was, of course, taken into hospital, and the diagnosis was made. Now, as I say, I was 36 when I got diagnosed. Up until that point in my life, I'd not suffered from any real symptoms. I was extremely fit. At the time I was training for several events, and I just assumed that if I had a heart condition, it would have already shown up in me. I convinced myself that I wouldn't possibly have the gene because I'd done so many events in the past where I felt I tested my heart to a very high level, and I thought, well, if it's withstood some of these events I've done previously, I'm convinced that although I was on a waiting list to be tested, I was convinced that the gene wouldn't be present within me. Even if it had, I still think I would have been in denial about what that actually meant, because again, I thought I was very fit and healthy, and even if the gene was present, again, knowing the way my mindset was at the time, I probably would have persevered with a lot of the things I do until one day I did face plant the floor. All I can say, I was very lucky that day that, you know, you don't always get sort of second or third chances, and I was very lucky to just get up and walk away that day. It could have been a hell of a lot worse, and you know, I'm part of the reason I'm making these videos is to warn people that it doesn't matter how fit and healthy you think you are, when it only took a couple of seconds of disruption across my heart to put me into a very, very bad position. And in that situation, there's absolutely nothing you can do. It's out of your control. You can be as healthy as you like, but if the heart doesn't want to play ball, you'll end up in big, big trouble. So don't ignore it. If you do ever have any symptoms, I can only think back, now I look back, I can perhaps pinpoint a couple of occasions where I've been doing sports in the past and had what could have been symptoms at the time. I'm not saying for definite because I don't know, but I should have, now knowing what I know, if I'd known, I would have gone and got these things checked out at the time. So I'll talk a bit more depth about certain things, like I now have an S-ICD. I do have some ongoing symptoms. I've had to make some lifestyle changes. I'm still very, very much enjoying life. This S-ICD allows me to do that. It allows me to be out here now on my own and not have to worry about collapsing. It gives my wife peace of mind that I'm going to walk back through the door. So lots and lots of positives, but wanted to share some of this journey with you, and I thought I'd start here today with what I've just covered, and I will return with some more information over some up and coming videos. Thanks for watching.